The Matrix universe is filled with unanswered questions. The complex characters, stories, and symbolisms are just begging to be analyzed and studied. The creators of this intriguing universe, the Wachowskis, once affirmed that they were tired of watching simple films that answered all the questions by the end, not leaving room for the viewers to reach their own conclusions or opinions. This is why they created The Matrix with a level of depth that is still being discussed 2 decades after its premiere. Thanks to its complexity, there is still many unanswered questions, and that is precisely the reason why we created this channel, to analyze every little detail and theorize their meanings. One of the most important conflicts in The Matrix is the battle between the Oracle and the Architect. Are these programs competing for their self-interests, or are they working together towards a common goal? Looking back at everything that happened in these films, we could reach a conclusion as to what is the true purpose of these 2 programs. Is the Oracle a program that fights for humanity, or does she work in conjunction with the Architect? Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Let us begin with a simple question. What did the Architect mean when he says to the Oracle,
"You played a very dangerous game"?
As perplexing as this line might be, it could be the key to the nature of the Oracle-Architect rivalry. We've theorized that the Oracle does work for, or with, the Architect. She is the one who guided Neo to the Source without warning him about the Architect, the Anomaly, or his predecessors. She built up the relationship between Neo and Trinity. She did not warn Morpheus about Cypher's plans, etc. There are many more reasons why we can deduce that the Oracle had her own goal, and it wasn't the well-being of humanity. Every choice that Neo made led him towards the Architect, the same choices that the Oracle influenced. Without a doubt, we see both the Oracle and the Architect working towards the same goal. But to what end? Well, the Matrix simulation had achieved 99% effectiveness thanks to the implementation of choice.
If I am the father of the Matrix, she would undoubtedly be its mother.
The Oracle.
Please. As I was saying, she stumbled upon a solution whereby nearly 99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level.
So the answer should be obvious. The 2 programs are working together to reach 100% effectiveness. The Architect's job is to balance the equation logically, and the Oracle's job is to unbalance it.
The Architect told me that if I didn't return to the Source, Zion would be destroyed by midnight tonight.
Please. You and I may not be able to see beyond our own choices, but that man can't see past any choice.
Why not?
He doesn't understand them. He can't. To him, they are variables in an equation. One at a time, each variable must be solved and counted. That's his purpose, to balance the equation.
What's your purpose?
To unbalance it.
Now, what does the Oracle mean about unbalancing? Do you know what a generative adversarial network is? The website thispersondoesnotexist.com is a page that was created as a result of the action of 2 artificial intelligence competing against each other. One AI creates pictures of human faces, and a second AI is in charge of detecting which photos are created by computer and which are real. The computer-generated photos that look fake are deleted. These 2 programs learn from each other. The first artificial intelligence became an expert in drawing human faces, while the second artificial intelligence in turn became an expert in detecting fake photographs. The result of this experiment were photographs that looked real, like if they were taken by real people, but they were actually computer-generated drawings. The existence of these 2 competing AI programs had achieved near perfection in creating human portraits. This is known as a generative adversarial network. It is a type of machine learning where 2 neural networks compete against each other in a zero-sum game, where one's gain is the other's loss. This helps each AI to learn from their losses. Now, how does this apply to the Oracle and the Architect? The Architect's job is to find the balance in the equation, and the Oracle's job is to imbalance it. Here we have two adversarial AIs that are learning from each other. This is the function of the generative adversarial network. Saying that the Oracle and the Architect are enemies is absurd. Both are fundamental parts of the Matrix. They are the father and the mother in search of perfection.
Please.
So what did the Architect mean by saying that the Oracle was playing a dangerous game? Although these two are working together, the Oracle's actions evade the Architect's logical reasoning. As we've mentioned in previous videos, the Oracle allowed Smith to assimilate her, thereby putting at risk the Matrix and the real world. And this is what the Architect was referring to. The father could not understand the mother's logic or reason for allowing herself to be assimilated by Smith, taking such a dangerous gamble to try to implement change in the equation.
You played a very dangerous game.
Change always is.
The word game is the definition of the generative adversarial network. The Oracle is a stress program. It was created to test the new version of the Matrix, manipulating everything in its favor, searching for flaws, and competing with the Architect, perpetuating the emergence of the integral anomaly, returning it to the source, restarting the simulation, and repeating the cycle. The Oracle will again search for issues in the new version of the simulation, and the Architect will create a new version with improvements. Though this cycle has been broken in Matrix Revolutions, the Oracle said that change always is, as in dangerous. Regardless of her efforts, the peace she helped establish was not going to last. The Oracle added something new to the equation: peace. She helped the Architect by adding choice and love to the equation, and now with this third edition, the elusive 100% effectiveness is ever closer. This is the first time that the Matrix was not completely reset. It was updated. A patch was added to fix some of the errors in the operating system, but it wasn't a factory reset. The Oracle knows that the Architect is close to achieving his goal. This is why he agreed to the Oracle's request to let out anyone who wanted to leave the simulation. This cooperation is not only due to Neo's sacrifice, but also to the fact that the Oracle has managed to implement changes into the simulation, increasing its effectiveness. The Architect does recognize that she is improving the simulation. Although perfection of the simulation is the ultimate goal, it is unachievable because Neo is still alive. There are also exiled programs inside the new version of the Matrix. The existence of the Merovingian and his followers represents corruption in the simulation. After all, the Matrix was only patched. It is not a new version, so we may see the equation losing its balance once again in Matrix 4, caused by a new system error that neither the Oracle nor the Architect could have foreseen. But do you agree? What do you think is the true purpose of the Oracle and the Architect? Are they adversarial programs working together to improve the simulation? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.